was trying to really make the most work happen, and banning out that LUCIAN means that BBQ really have their sights set on another first pick that's not that LUCIAN, because they would have expected SKT to take it in the first rotation for themselves. So they recognize the power of this pick, and instead they will be locking in that kind of, it's pretty much you cannot pass this pick, so they secure it for Crazy.
The second I saw Crazy grinning and laughing like that on camera, I think everybody in the studio knew. This says King Grodd, great God, General Genius, Emperor.
My gosh.
Something crazy.
King, Crazy, Emperor, every title that is deserving of royalty.
There were too many. Who was he talking about, Faker?
I think he was talking about Crazy.
Oh, Crazy?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I saw all those titles and I'm like, you would think it would be
an honor.
Faker, right? The God Emperor of League of Legends, right? I wasn't really thinking Crazy. No offense, but either way.
Well, she was. Varus Graves, the rotation from SKT. I think we saw this rotation earlier today in the matchup between Ever and MVP. It does need a lot of crowd control to make this composition work. And what is BBQ going to lock in here? You do want to see some early game prowess when you're locking in that can make advantage or make use out of that strong pushing lanes to really snowball early, and that's what you want to see against SKT. Just put them on the spot, try to accelerate the game as quickly as possible, and it looks like it's going to be the Xayah locked in. Rakan is still available, but the jungler is most likely going to be locked in just as an answer to the jungler pick from SKT, and it will be the Kha'Zix locked in. So lots of damage, not enough CC yet, and you can expect the utility coming out from the second rotation of the pick.
BBQ with the Mega Troll showing Rengar, Nidalee, Rek'Sai, and then Kha'Zix. Finally going with that pick, and a Talia here for Faker.
The blind Talia, just a super strong pick, and she's basically the new Twisted Fate. Lots of utility in the mid lane, can defend for herself and team fight a lot better than TF, while also providing insane zone control with her Weaver as well as dive in the bottom lane. That's why this pick is seeing such a surge, and really, if you can view it as the new Twisted Fate, it really makes a lot of sense as to why this pick is so strong in the meta right now.
Taking that over other strong picks, such as Orianna, another pick that's still left up. Of course, the Syndra was banned. And look at SKT, they're going to go ahead and ban some mid lane champions here. We do see the Cassiopeia taken away. Rumble on the side of BBQ. Huni, definitely known for that Rumble, want to take it away.
And actually, the pick that I would be interested to see if BBQ really is up to the task for it is going to be the Kassadin into Talia. It's a good matchup into it. There is not a whole lot of punishment coming out of Graves and Talia in terms of CC, and they would most likely be able to get past the early stages of the game relatively well, but who knows if that's the flavor that they're feeling today. As BBQ, they definitely have a lot of variety for whatever spice you're feeling on your chicken.
Okay, gonna take away the Tahm Kench. I mean, it's not like they're running an Ashe or a Syndra or something like this, but still want to take that away from SKT, and that's a very easy pick up on the Thresh right now for SKT.
Yeah, and at least they deny the Rakan. Make sure that that duo lane synergy isn't really quite there. But the Thresh means that this bottom lane is not only capable of really punishing a... Yeah, there it is. See, called it. I got distracted from the point. Called the Kassadin. Nail on the head, hit the hammer. And Nautilus is going to be the support with Talia. So lots of crowd control, making sense. And we're talking about Thresh. Thresh is a pick that will not only enable any 6 or 5-man dive in the bottom lane relatively well with his poke and his ability to just lantern anybody in, but also really useful to be defensively played. So you can just back away, and Braum gets locked in, and we haven't seen this lane yet. Braum, Xayah.
Yeah, I think we could do pretty well. I mean, it's funny that we see the rise. Okay, never mind. We're going to see LUCIAN.
Top. LUCIAN top.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, Huni.
All eyes on Huni.
Oh, my God. Here we go. We've gone full circle.
And you know what? I haven't actually seen this against the Kennen top. You were thinking about some answers for the Kennen. You get your Rumble banned away. Fiora was still available, but not going to pick that up. He wants to go head-to-head with the Lucian in the top lane.
Wow, and I wonder, he must have found Coma a date to allow him to get Lucian into the top lane here. And the triple AD carry here from SKT is going to be really difficult to deal with when you have all these assassins that are relatively squishy to try to dive in. And Huni is literally the best Lucian on SKT, by the way. You would expect Bang to be the one, but there is video,
hey, what about Faker?
There is video evidence
Just
of
played
Huni
some of that in solo queue.
1v1ing Bang and beating him on Lucian. So the Lucian from him is definitely a lot of aggression in the top lane, action-packed laner, and just so much DPS coming out of this lineup for SKT that I really wonder what the late game is going to look like for these fights if the game even gets to that point.
Well, I would expect a lot of action early on. It's possible that SKT just tries to farm up with their triple ADC, but not going to call anything just yet. We're getting a final look at both of these team compositions going into game number 1. Go out there and tell your friends, guys. We got Huni back on the top Lucian. This is actually happening.
And for those who aren't aware, Huni's also rocking the Fnatic 2015 icon. So really just shout out to both previous teams that he's been on, both Immortals and Fnatic. So lots of history in this matchup. And if you're a fan of League of Legends for quite some time, then this game just has so much intrigue out of this. And a pick that, if he's actually pulling this off and he succeeds, you understand that the entire global meta will now acknowledge Lucian top as a pick and will seriously be playing.
Man, I hope so. Lucian's always a fun champion to come and see.
The reason why I don't hope so is because that means that you got top laners that are used to playing Nautilus and Maokai and now having to hit skill shots and dodge things on Lucian, and that's just going to be one recipe for disaster. When you're not an AD carry player and you don't have the mechanics that Huni has, one of the best top laners in the world, you're really not going to be doing a whole lot with this pick.
I mean, it's definitely true. I'd like to see these guys actually practice it before they bring it up into the top lane. You know what I'm saying? And you were talking about how Huni is one of the best top laners in the world. It definitely shows a lot of confidence from the SKT coaching staff to say, hey, you're going to be paying Lucian top here. Is that okay? And he says, yes, of course, coach, put me in. And
absolutely.
Man, I hope he does well on it. We have a small delay, guys. Stick with us.
Yeah, so in the meantime, we can just run over the compositions. It's not on your screen right now, but this is a classic SKT comp that basically has minimal engage. It's got Lucian, Graves, Talia, Varus, Thresh, so they rely on making a fight happen, as we always know, by just pressure, by winning the lanes, by putting you in a position where you have to engage on them, and then they're ready to respond. They play the fights very well, and this is an inspiring composition for me from SKT, because this means that they have a lot more confidence that they came in their first match earlier this week. This means that they have kind of most likely returned to the form that you would expect out of SKT, and it also means it's a composition that can stomp the early game so hard. Talia, lots of pressure onto the Kassadin. You have Lucian obviously into Kennen. I'm pretty sure Crazy doesn't really know how this matchup goes.
I don't know. I mean, how many times has he really gone into solo queue and faced off against a Lucian in the top lane? Probably not very often. How many times does he go into scrims and teams actually seriously play the Lucian top into Kennen? This might be his first time for all we know. Exactly.
It's such a niche pick that not every top laner can play right now, or at least before. The meta is seriously favored playing tanks 24/7. It was only in 7.10 you have a little bit more picks coming through, but now Lucian, whew.
Yeah, it's coming on in. So go out there, tell your friends, guys. We're jumping into game number 1 right now. So SKT, they got the bigger cheer, but shout out to the person who starts the cheer. I don't know if they have a specific name, but for BBQ, definitely doing pulling her weight.
The leader, sure. You need a leader for your cheers.
The cheerleader. There you go.
I guess that's how that came about. Now we know name origins.
Oh, crazy! He's already won. He's got the most damage in the game currently.
But he's got that Doran shield, so Huni has the most regen in the game already.
That's so funny to see the Lucian top with the Doran shield. We have 5 of them in this game. Kassadin will be picking it up in the mid lane. Both top laners, both ADCs.
And it's important to point out in your starting items that Peanut has gone with a control ward in his first itemization. Graves, we all know the jungler does not take damage, but where he places his control ward would mean a lot. He's already revealed himself, so we already know what they're... Oh, they nice clear on the ward.
Look at that, super aggressive from SKT. They're just saying, okay, this is our blue buff.
And this most likely could be a blue to blue. There's double defensive wards on the river for SKT here, so they might be expecting Bless to answer with their own blue buff. And if they can push both mid and bottom lane early, you really don't want to see that. And that would mean that they definitely are more prompted to go for that triple buff start. But Peanut saying no, he's just taking over the blue buff quadrant of BBQ's jungle with the control ward placing the blue buff, just making sure that he is not spotted.
Definitely unfortunate to see. You know, you're starting the Raptors. By the way, level 2 spike here on the Lucian. Everybody in the crowd's like, ooh, ah. But yeah, that's kind of what happens. But you don't have any leash from the mid lane when you're dealing with the Kassadin on your team, and also when you start the Raptors. So to also have it leash means that this is going to be an incredible slow jungle start from Bless.
Pretty much nobody wins when you have Kassadin on your win except Kassadin. But yeah, it is going to be that 3-buff start for Peanut. He's going straight to the blue buff. Wolf reacted to make sure that Kha'Zix did not sneak in, and a great start here from SKT. Lots of pressure into the top side of the map. And so what this start accomplished is that Huni is capable of playing this aggressive because the top quadrant has been denied. And so Bless's route just makes no sense for him to go to the top side of the map. If he were to go top right now, not only is he going to get scouted by the control ward that was placed early on, not only is he not going to find the Gromp or the blue buff there, but he's just not going to be able to do anything without being envisioned, and Huni just takes full advantage of it. And you see him already with a 6 CS. That's an entire minion wave up on Crazy with only 3 waves gone down so far.
It's a very good point you make. You know, it's playing around your top laner. It's having great teamwork, and even if he is going to scout that brush, thankfully. But even if he clears it out, still now Huni knows, okay, you're on the top side of the map. I can just play a little bit passive. I could throw down my own ward in the river.
Exactly. It buys him some time, and now Peanut is going back in the top quadrant of the map, and the wave's bouncing back, so this is a great position for Huni to be in, and Peanut doesn't even have to respond to the top side of the map. He can just continue to farm, and everything is fine here. He should be okay.
Yeah, he does have the Doran shield, so you know what they say.
What do they say?
They say Doran shield is OP. That's what they say. I think even if you take away the pot, if you make it 450, do you still think it's going to?
They should just take away the pot, make it 420.
There you go. We got some fighting down in the bot lane, and no one's gonna die. Just Ghost losing the trade here. Wolf is pretty low, but that's gonna be okay. But I think even if Doran shield is 450, it's still gonna be pretty strong.
Oh, so yeah.
Oh. Okay, forcing the flash out here.
That's fine. Huni did have to blow his teleport and came back with a Cole, so he's just looking to farm up in this lane already. He understands his position well, and now the pressure has shifted to the bottom side of the map. Even though Bless tried to go for an invade and try to deny that red buff, Faker did help in securing the red for Peanut. And so far, you can see that there's already about a 300 gold lead coming out from SKT just from the CS that's just spread out between all their lanes.
Definitely a nice advantage here. Ooh, nice hook onto the Xayah. Braum gonna get right up there in front, but still a good trade. Bang is pretty low on mana, but still you can see they're having a bit of trouble there. And things are gonna start off pretty fiery here with an Infernal Drake. You can see that Peanut's taking away that Scuttle Crab right now. Definitely want to get that warded, make sure no one tries to solo it. Lots
of vision there around that Infernal. Peanut just should not be going for anywhere in the bottom side just yet because of the recall from the dual lane, so he will just stay around the mid lane. trying to get a little bit of cheeky vision here so far. Places a control ward in the backside, and actually Thresh did decide to stay. But that's a control ward that we haven't seen in a long time. A lot of times I think teams have forgotten the value of placing a control ward behind enemy lines and really the ability to get so much information out of a team just from seeing any pathing that might occur through that area, which is just so common.
Uh-oh, the Lantern here onto Peanut. There's the Flay, will force the flash. Fortunately, the death sentence does not land, so we're still here at 0-0. No kills just yet.
And Ghost gets surprised there because you would have expected Wolf to be basing. There was no vision in the bottom side, and there was double control denying vision from BBQ, so he thought that maybe Bang had a recalled as well, that he was in a safe position, but they capitalized on it and are able to get a flash, and you can expect a return gank out of this lane just because Wolf has flash as well, and so lots of danger potentially happening for BBQ in the bottom side.
Take a look at the farm in the jungle. Already Bless up a big number here,
well,
about 22.
Well, that's doubles and Raptors. The CS, or the levels and itemizations, are still even, so the farm still doesn't amount to quite a whole lot just yet, just because the way that they changed. That's one of the changes I wish never really came through, because it's so difficult to understand who's ahead of what, and so you're just relegated to looking at itemizations and levels.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll fix that up a little bit, perhaps.
Soon TM. Soon TM.
Getting the root there onto Bang. But you can see this is a CS lead that we can talk about a bit. Xayah having some trouble down here against the Bang Wolf combo.
It's just so annoying when you have to deal with Thresh, and Bless, it looks like he's playing in some sort of laser bank at this point. So many wards that he just can't get around. He gets scouted and Faker gets to go down, and SKT just taking full advantage of the situation, and I love this style that they're taking on right now. There might be a Weaver's Wall coming out here from Faker, but no, just everything whiffs.
Oh, look at Bang going head-to-head with Ghost down here, a little bit ahead. Lateral damage will miss, but it does not matter. First blood given over to Bang in the bot lane.
And this focus on the bottom lane means that BBQ have to respond with 3 to 4 people down there, which leaves the top side completely by itself. And when you leave Lucian on the one-on-one lane, his ability to bully out anybody else is nearly, it's unrivaled. That's why the pick has been so powerful. That's why before it became that meme where it was like, wow, is Lucian top really that good? Well, on the one-on-one, yes, he can really be that good. Pulling is out.
Oh, that's stun though. He's going to try to win though. The flash from Crazy, not able to dodge the Q. That will be the kill, the solo kill going over to Huni.
Not even face, stand and deliver there. Look at him, stoic as hell on that one. And he has a Cole on top of everything. The fact that he gets that kill means that his advantage is going to be monumental. I mix monumental and monstrous at the same time. That should be a word. Dang it.
Monstrumental. It's instrumental at the same time.
Instrumentally monstrous.
Yeah, it's
monstrumental.
Monstrumental. And, I mean, maybe SKT even knew the cannon was coming out. I think they had
Yeah,
this.
you had to. If you leave it up, you know it's coming out.
And you can see the replay here. It looks like Crazy's in a pretty good spot, but then you consider, okay, he gets the stun, but just the passive out of Huni on that Lucian is enough.
He might have been able to have that had he actually flashed the piercing light, but it's a very quick skill shot, and you really can't blame him for it. Like, really, how many times has a top laner not only gotten to practice cannon, but practice it against a Lucian? Practice duel doesn't have 2 people in it, so the answer is pretty much never.
Well, he was close. Shout out to Crazy for being close.
Oh man, that's just, you know, that's what's gonna read on his tombstone that one day.
He was almost good
close.
enough.
It was close.
Yeah. Look at that control ward too. I mean, they saw this coming a mile away. They said, okay, they're going to know with this lead we're gonna have the river and even the tri-brush warded up. So just make sure you ward the top brush They'll be totally fine.
And this is just a nightmare here for BBQ, having to match the dual lane 24/7. The dual lane that built up that CS that allowed them to get that kill in the bottom lane now is having to defend the mid-tier 1, and Talia has come as well. Look for the hook. Yeah, that's gonna be...
There it is. The knockup misses, though. Chain of Corruption will land, but this is a Braum with the shield up. Not enough damage to come through.
But every chunk on the champions means more chunk goes down on the turrets, and one more wave that goes like this would mean this turret goes down for SKT, and taking down a mid-tier 1 is always such a huge boon to the map presence that a team can have, so BBQ have to really be putting more resources into defending this turret, because once this goes down, the snowball comp that SKT is running right now will not slow down.
What do you think about the fake around the Talia? Just not just the pick, but I can't really remember the last time we've seen him on this champion. Hold that thought. We are going to have the engage. The teleport from behind here from Tempt will jump in, and now it's a 1v2. I know his Lucian is good, but that's pretty hard. But they do use the teleport, and that means Peanut's going to get to work on this Infernal right away.
But an Infernal for a kill is a worthwhile trade. They get the teleport, and when you're running 4 carries, it means that that Infernal is going to give you that much more value. And they're still able to pressure the mid turret, so they have no qualms with giving up that turret. Huni is just basically the beacon of attention for BBQ as they focus on the kill, and in return, lose out potentially up to 2 objectives. And you were mentioning the faker on Talia, but just a strong pick overall. It helps the side lanes. Is really difficult to dive into. Talia with the seismic shove means getting picks is really easy to do, and it helps the side lanes just so well. And I think it really makes sense when you're dealing with Lucian that eventually will be a pick that will most likely get jumped on by Kassadin and Kha'Zix split pushing in the side lanes. And if you can have Talia respond quickly and assist him, then the composition makes a lot more sense.
Faker famously good at any champion, but Huni coming on in here, not quite enough damage. Bless will get away with his ultimate. Huni, though, coming on in 2 levels up on Bless. Totally going to push him out of the way. This will open up the Rift Herald. Another objective, potentially going over to SKT.
And it's not many times that you see an AD carry jump face first into a Kha'Zix that has isolated claws. But Lucian with the Doran shield with his Ninja Tab Eyes feel much more comfortable than anybody else to do so. And now that this Rift Herald goes down, who are they going to give it to? It will be Peanut.
It's always the jungler, man.
I personally am a fan of giving it on the jungler, even though you could say that the jungler makes it really obvious as to where it's going, because you can read the jungler's pathing relatively well. It offers a little bit more flexibility as to what you're going to do, as opposed to a laner that can just show up in the lane and randomly activate it. So I think it's up for debate at this point, but more importantly is the timing that you use it and the people that are around it.
For sure. I mean, I think as time goes on and people actually figure out the perfect timing, they'll also figure out who actually is the most efficient player to take this, the best position to put it on top of. So we will just have to wait and see what these pro teams will decide on.
In the meantime, just a 1-3-1 happening from SKT. Huni still relentlessly pushing the top side. Once he completes that Blade of the Ruined King, which is very soon in happening, his ability to just bully out anybody topside and escape ganks is going to be applying so much pressure. He does have flash.
Can he land that Chain of Corruption? The answer is no. Will any CC land onto Crazy? Right now, it looks like Bang was tanking the turret, but with 3 members up there, even though Crazy does burn flash, he cannot get away.
And it was so well played by Huni. They're just waiting to see what Crazy's response was going to be to getting surrounded. Sees that he's just going to use his Vengeful Maelstrom, dodging with the lightning rush, but in the end does not hit Kennen. And as such, he does not proc turret aggro and lets Wolf do it, and the gank becomes that much easier to pull off. And in the end, their HP is just much higher than what it would have been otherwise.
Ghost and Totoro getting a bit frisky here, forcing Bang to take that Lantern, but nothing happening. Peanut still does have that Rift Herald, and even though he was essentially alone there, does take a bit of time to summon it, and he had no support. So.
It's half HP, so it's most likely just going to be using that top lane turret, as we can see him path to the top side right now. And it'll just help in basically suiciding for that last outer turret, just because it'll most likely deal, you know, like half HP of the tower. Should be enough to knock down that turret that is being defended with everything that BBQ's got.
You can see there are a bunch of pings up in top lane as Peanut makes his way up to use this Herald. Right now we do have the TP on Crazy, but it's almost ready on Tempt. And here we do go.
It's gonna headbutt it to death. Here it goes. It's charging.
Herald's been summoned.
Oh!
She was angry. So they get the turret. It looks like it should be cleaned up, but here we go. Faker coming from the river. No Weaver's Wall.
Clap for the NPC.
Little golf clap.
Now that Huni has his blade, he just has to be aware of where Bless is at for him to keep pressure in this lane, because Crazy is still the completed item behind. The itemizations are pretty much identical here, save for the orange blade. On that mountain dragon.
Yeah, and already SKT 6,000 gold ahead at 17 minutes. This is the SKT we know and love. They've had a little bit of time to come back here into Korea and practice up, rest up from Brazil.
They make it look so easy. Hitting that 6K advantage right now. It feels like when you play against SKT, you're playing against one of those games where you sign up for the AI, but the AI is programmed to have more gold generation than you are. That's what SKT feels like. No other team can really get these advantages this quickly, seemingly out of nowhere, just coming out of CS, pressuring the map properly, just going into the jungle and denying the right waves. And as such, the ability to just grow a lead just becomes so disgusting to watch, in a good way, of course.
Totally gross, disgusting play.
Totally
I love it.
Grotesque.
I love it. Ooh, nice grab there onto the Kassadin. Do they have a burst damage to take him away? Yes, they do. Collateral damage perfectly aimed at the Kassadin, attempting to get away. That will be another turret here in the mid lane.
And now the gold goes to 7,000, and still that 1-3-1. They're catching 3 waves of farm while denying the jungle from BBQ. Just such a ridiculous way of playing the game, which is the right way to accelerate properly. And level 12 on Huni versus a level, just previously level 9 Xayah. And man, Xayah just not doing a whole lot, and another turret going down for SKT. Just, Jesus, that's 18 minutes in. Last game we were looking at Ever being like, oh, maybe they should speed the game up at 30 minutes, and now
with
SKT,
their 5-0-1 Syndra.
Yeah, SKT in under 20 minutes already, and almost a 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah. They don't really have any big farmed up player, no fed player. I mean, Faker sitting in mid lane, his farm is fantastic, but he's 0-0-1. It's always fun to watch SKT too, just as a team. It's not always the superstar player in the mid lane doing all the work. It's not necessarily that Every kind of status where it's just Septic carrying the team. Look at this play onto the Kassadin. Tempt was probably not expecting this.
Yeah, he did not have vision of the red side jungle, and so he did not expect the Threshing Graves to be right there. But just all too easy. When you're playing Kassadin, dealing with AD carries is the most difficult thing, because they can really answer back a lot of damage up front. You don't get the most use out of your shield. Your passive that reduces magic damage is useless, and so when you have to get in range to get auto-attacked, you melt like butter. And as such, he has to respond with Ninja Tabbies and the Seeker's Arm Guard early on, which means that he's just going to take that much longer to ramp up. And that's 5 Tabbies on the side of BBQ.
Hey, it makes sense. I'm glad you pointed that out. But you're going up against 380 carries. Grab your Tabbies, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody's a ninja here.
Well, after Crazy's performance up in the top lane, you gotta get some more ninjas on your team, I suppose.
That was a loony performance indeed.
So SKT, they do have this red buff on Bang. They're looking to push. And
Totoro.
Okay. Well, that's going to be a dead Braum. Nice mustache, though, but not good enough. And another kill going over to SKT. It seems almost like BBQ's just like sitting down and taking it, you know? They don't...
Hey, man.
What? What? They're just sitting down and taking it, man. They're just letting SKT walk all over them.
There are hundreds of positions available to take it. So whatever way they choose to do it, but they just don't have the tools to do so, because this is what happens when you draft comps like this. You've got Cassidy and Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix has falling off the meta right now. He's not really the greatest jungler. Doesn't offer a whole lot of crowd control, and you can't mimic SKT. That's the thing. SKT is the only team that can get away with this. Maybe KT that tried it last play, but you can't just say, let's copy this style and try to make it happen. This team has been working like this for years. They're really on another level, and so when you try to take their blueprint and apply it to your own, it's almost always going to be a failure.
So I know you're talking about some really smart things there, Crumbs, but did you see Totoro miss both of his wards over the wall? That was really interesting to me. That's what I was watching.
I was focused on his death and the shield that he left behind, what seemingly is the door to some sort of dimension.
Oh, boy. Just nothing going right for BBQ in this game. I was expecting it to be SKT favored, but...
You don't say.
Yeah, well, it's not the smartest thing I've ever said, but, or the most, you know, new and interesting idea. But yeah, Huni coming back with the top Lucian. Do you think they would have done the same against a team like Samsung or KT?
You know, I think they would have. I think they would have, because to me, it's not so much that it's a Lucian comp on the Lucian top on the comp. It's a Lucian top against the Kennen. Because when you look at a pick like Kennen, okay, one of the most popular picks right now, let's get creative. What can we answer it? And they will just try to gank it, and he's so dead.
He's even going to flash for it. He really wants to try to fight this. He's going to dash away. Here comes Tempt. Okay. Trying to take away Huni's all-star moment. I see how it is, Tempt.
Hashtag worth on that one. Traded Baron for his life, so SKT keeps their eye on the prize and grows the lead even further to a 12,000 gold lead in 23 minutes. That is so much gold right now.
Call me selfish. I just wanted to see Huni 1v2 them.
I
think that would have been more interesting.
Yeah, I really wanted to be wrong and be like, is he gonna somehow turn this? It was, damn Tempt, ruining our Lucian fantasy.
I mean, Lightning Rush was down. The leap was down from the Kha'Zix, and he had effectively built the distance between him and both of them. So
I think he would have done it. I think you're right.
It was going to be close. If he had been able to burst down crazy and then keep his distance away from the Kha'Zix, then perhaps. They're trying to set up something here. Faker and Wolf getting a little bit too far down, but actually, as I say that, it was Bless that was locked in with them, and it's going to be another kill. Here comes Faker right in that wall. Is going to be blocked, but it just doesn't matter as they do line this one up. Faker going deep, trying to pick up the kill. There's another one onto Ghost. And Crumbs, this is one of the most one-sided games I've ever casted.
Fair. What?
They can't keep getting away with it.
How is... Jesus, are they they're gonna try to end this? The wave is being escorted here by Wolf. They're really going for the sub 25-minute win, and I think they're gonna be able to get it.
It's gonna be close. Bless and Totoro are spawning. Well, who am I kidding? Okay, here's the hook there onto Crazy. Collateral damage doesn't even land, and that is gonna be the Nexus here before 25 minutes. And that is SKT.
We got plans tonight, it seems, because SKT is coming back with a vengeance here, just not giving BBQ a chance. Not like this seems like I haven't seen such a stomp in a while. Holy moly!
You know, you were talking about how Huni maybe got Koma a date. Well, he was like, okay, I'll let you play Lucian, but you gotta end the game before 25 minutes. I gotta get to my date that you set up for me tonight.
He was like, I'll write your Tinder profile if you let me play Lucian top.
Oh man, that was domination like we haven't seen so far in summer. Wolf is like, oh man, I just want to go home and play solo queue. Like, what is this?
Are we done yet?
Yeah.
You're like, oh God. It's that kind of loss where if you're in BBQ shoes, you're like, man, are we really this outclassed?
Well, the answer is yes, unfortunately. Man, Crazy, he looked so happy when he got that cannon, but he didn't know what was coming his way.
I don't think anybody saw this coming.
No.
What do you even review? Hey guys, good job. Let's do it again.
Peanuts talking about like, oh, that was a pretty cool play you had at the end, but I don't know. I think my collateral damage on the Cassin was a little bit cooler, so.
They're just complimenting each other.
Yeah.
I like that though. Every game, you just give each other compliments. What was your most enjoyable moment that game? When it was over.
When the game ended. When Huni almost 1v2'd
yeah.
them.
Actually,
that was almost a great moment.
The level 1 was sick though. The control ward, I appreciated that one. That was a good idea to really scout out and make sure that they can go down there. And every skill shot missed, but when you're this strong early on, and when Xayah has no summoners, and so easy.
Yeah, easy peasy first blood. Going over to Bang, I believe that was, and this was the nice outplay.
Yeah, I think if he totally could have had that.
If he flashed it, he lives. He takes the solo kill.
You know, that's exactly how Bang lost his 1v1. He didn't flash the piercing arrow, or the piercing light. You gotta use your flash, kids.
Yeah, don't save it. Just do it. Okay, so Tempt wasn't expecting this. Corrupting, or not corrupting, Chains of Corruptions coming in, and that's just the follow-up finish. Picture perfect from Peanut.
What is there to even say?
It's not even just about their macro and their really smart play, but also their mechanics are almost always on point. Outside of the first blood fight, everybody pretty much lands everything.
Yeah, it's just so clean.
Not that BBQ made it hard for them, but here is the result. 16,000 gold ahead in 24 minutes.
My God. I think, all right, well.
The humanity.
That's the record, I think.
Look at Peanut's damage. What the hell?
1.7. What? Wait, what was
Is that real?
What? Was it? Well, let's
they meant to put in like 7.7, but they put in 1.7 or something.
Well.
I mean, the only kill he was really part of was the collateral damage, basically.
That's a good game on the jungle, though, when you do that little damage and like, yep, all me, fellas. Yeah. My vision allowed you to deal damage. You always credit the intangibles when when you're kind of when you don't really know what you did. You always say it's the intangibles that allowed us to win. That
control ward, though, level 1, pretty cool. I'm not sure if that was Peanut's idea or just all of SKT. But guys, we are going to jump into game number 2 after a quick commercial break. Join us in about 8 minutes for SKT versus BBQ.